BNC, America's Black News Channel. Watch us on all major cable providers and major streaming platforms. Finally, news that speaks to us.
And so let us continue down this wonderful path called history that's taken place today. BNC political contributor Ameshia Cross joining us now. Ameshia, so much to unpack in today's events that took place on Capitol Hill. First, let's start with the overall tone of today's hearing.
Well, I think that we got from Republicans exactly what we expected to get. It was word salad for the most part, as it related to them basically using this stage, using these Senate hearings as a trial run for their campaigns and bolstering up a Republican turnout in the 2022 midterms. With that being said, we heard everything from her being, Ketanji Brown Jackson being soft on anti-LGBT. We heard of issues related to her record and in cases of sexual predators, specifically in youth cases. We heard them basically utilize trying to diminish her character, and also say that it's not racist, that Democrats have often used racism as it relates to Republican pushback on any nominees for basically anything, and they kind of use that as an undercurrent. We heard from Ted Cruz a lot of things related to how previous Supreme Court justice nominees have had to go through this process and have been harangued by Democrats, specifically looking at what we saw happen with Brett Kavanaugh and the sexual assault allegations. And I think that none of those things really sank. None of those things really hit in the way that they thought that they were going to. Ketanji Brown Jackson is well poised for this role. She's someone who has a stellar record. She's someone who has, quite frankly, debunked a lot of these things already. So I think that today started off with Republicans basically trying to deal everything that they had. And we know what this playbook actually looks like.
Yeah, she already has a great poker face, given that she had zero reaction to the word salad thrown at her by Senator Marsha Blackburn. Means that she could probably sit there and listen to any argument on the Supreme Court with that same poker face. But Senator Lindsey Graham, he's the one who brought the idea of race and party politics into this conversation. Take a listen.
So if you're Hispanic or African American conservative, it's about your philosophy. Now it's going to be about the historic nature of the pick. Now it's going to be about your philosophy. The bottom line here is when it is about philosophy, when it's somebody of color on our side, it's about we're all racist if we ask hard questions. It's not going to fly with us. We're used to it by now, at least I am. So it's not going to matter a bit to any of us. We're going to ask you what we think you need to be asked. And Senator Hawley, you need to ask her about her record as a district court judge. You should. I hope you do. And we'll see what she says.
He's referring to Clarence Thomas, and he's, of course, also referring to Judge Kavanaugh, how they were both treated, both of them men with skeletons in their closet. What's your reaction, Ameshia?
It was disgusting, and especially coming from Lindsey Graham, someone who, let's remind our audiences here, had already supported and voted in support of Ketanji Brown Jackson previously. She has had support amongst Republicans at least 3 times as she's taken on various judicial roles. It's interesting because this is somebody who did not utilize race when he was supporting her previously, but now all of a sudden he's throwing all types of shade and trying to nullify that race is an issue here, when quite frankly it's contextually the only reason why we see so many Republicans with a standout against her, and expounding even further the same types of threats and commentary that they used against now Vice President Kamala Harris. They know how to lob hate against Black women, and they have weaponized it for quite some time. And we're seeing those same things play out over and over again with someone who Republicans have supported 3 times in the past.
Yeah, and look, to be clear, and to your point, Ameshia, there should be no surprise coming from the Republicans like Senator Marsha Blackburn that my esteemed colleague and friend Nayyera was just talking about. I thought where she went was like, oh, you're going to go there in terms of parental rights and bringing that up, and then all of these things that are going on with the Republicans. We can talk about the Republicans. Let's talk about the moment that Judge Jackson had for herself, to talk about her faith in God and in the greatness of America, and actually making that happen, coming from two successful parents who did everything to raise her, and Ketanji meaning lovely one. This is an opportunity for Black women and Black girls to see how beautiful it is to be dark and lovely.
What's in a name? Judge Jackson basically speaking about how she got her name, what that means, the history of Black America, especially those who were born within the 70s and prior, their parents giving them names that had this grand meaning, I think is extremely important, and her pointing that out. In addition to her lovely family, talking about how she got to where she is, but also weaving a story that's very important in this post-Trump era, in this post-January 6th insurrection era, in this era where democracy is being challenged on all fronts. We have a Black woman, a descendant of slaves, a Black woman who is proud of her heritage and proud of her people, talking about the contributions to democracy, talking about upholding our democracy, talking about how proud she is to be an American. And we recognize this because whites across America, specifically Republicans and ultra-conservatives, have pushed a narrative for a very long time that Black people are less American, that Black Americans, hyphenated Americans, aren't truly Americans, who do not deserve or are not to be part of the recipients of what our Constitution actually says that all Americans are endowed towards. She spoke in very strong terms about how proud she is to be an American, about how proud she is to be under this Constitution, about how proud she is to be able to have throughout her career used the Constitution as her guiding book and as her guiding light. I think that means a lot, not only for resetting history as it relates to how white America has seen Black Americans for so long, but also showcasing that to be an American also means to be a dark-skinned woman. It means to be somebody in this era of Black Lives Matter, to still say that America is great, to still have that conversation about the things that need to be changed, but recognizing fully that there's so many benefits to being an American. I think that kind of resets the stage to people who call her this radical leftist or who are wondering, what her game plan may be, that simply she's somebody who believes in our Constitution and is fighting to uphold it.